We got this nice wood wall in our living room. Usually I custom my own stands, but I was surprised to find how cheap they can actually be. And a lot easier to build than I thought it'd be. Stands are up, tanks are clean. Sand is level. I got the stone in. I gotta figure out the height of where I want to go with that. Probably halfway, I'm thinking, because you know, more water the better. I want at least that water. And this is that flagstone, that thinner rock. It's not very thick, so I only need the face. You guys will see what I'm about to do. Went ahead and made a little mark there with a pencil. That'll give me my height, which is right about half what this rock is. That rock is literally this. If you wanted a cool backdrop for your fish tank, shoot, I kind of almost want it. That could make a really good backdrop stone too. So forefront stone, then backdrop stone. Oh man. All right, so you see I got my mark there. I'm gonna go ahead and get the other piece here. What you're gonna wanna do is I've got it lined up at the bottom there. At this point is about where I want it. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit into the edges. Each edge. I'll pop it in the center here. And go into the center of that. And finishing it as I go down. Boom. There, let loose. I got my piece. And with that corner, I'm actually gonna hammer off that little pointy part. Probably straighten this out, make it look a little more natural. So it's pretty much the same method. Get it where you want it. Now, as far as the seams go, you can always hide those with wood or plants. And then also matching this up, I had put one behind, a couple in front. That way I gave it a little more dimension here at the center. It did leave these gaps, which, you know, those could be detrimental to fish. So just fill it up with sand. That's what I did over on this side. That way they won't get trapped in there. And we'll make sure it looks natural too that way. But it's starting to come along. This is looking really well. Still got to work on the ends. That looks better too. Just set that a little bit more up in front. Hit that in the back. Tried my best to match up the heights. Liking it. One thing I like about the yard dirt is it automatically adds that extra little dimension of little bits throughout. Kind of gives it more of that natural look. Kind of want to put a rock cap on it. I don't know. This will help hold the soil in. Keep it from leaching out over time, kind of keep everything together. I'm gonna hide it a little bit up underneath the rock. See, so that just stick it out, scrunch it down, pull it out, pull it under. That piece is good enough for the whole thing. I am gonna fold this corner down. Like normal scape, you would probably want to go ahead and just put it on the edge. But since this one's gonna be divided, since this is gonna be all the same scape, but divided, I still want to see the sand when I'm looking over here, because you may be able to see roots or something cool when you see on the side. That way it looks more dissected, because if I put rocks into the side here, then it would look weird. It would just look like this was all just solid rock. Plants don't really grow out of solid rock. Although I've seen rock with plenty of plants. I want that segmented look. All right, so like so, I've got it set in here. Just a little bit above this height. Got a nice bend. That way when I put the sand in, all the pressure is gonna go this way. It should all push against those cracks and crevices. I'll still be able to see from that side. Be able to tuck that in. And then eventually we'll clean this up and make it look a little more natural with some loose rock of this. I just got to get the sand back here to hold that up. So when I put the rock in, that sand will hold it up. But we'll hide all that. Let's get in there. Now I got to do the rest. All right, all filled in. Now to get sand in there. All right, got sand filled in the top here all the way across. So now I've got my planters. This will be underwater, the rest will be above water. Now I'm not sure if I want to cap it off or not. Give it a color contrast or just keep it the same color. Well, you can see here how I've cleaned up one of these edges here. Same with like that one. That all has black fabric, which I just put a rock in there and then put some sand over. So something just as simple as getting a rock that sort of fits doesn't even really have to fit that well. Because you know, nature's not perfect. That's the beautiful thing about nature. So I got that rock in there now. I could just start throwing sand inside of it. Just fill that hole up with sand. It'll look more natural. Boom. Now I gotta finish with the rest. You can also use plants and driftwood to do the same effect, or I could put a rock in front of it. There's all kinds of options to blend it in. I'll have to wait to break up some rock. I may go ahead and just start filling them. We can get the water marinated. Happens fast. You can see the in-between really blends in, so it's pretty normal. Now you get your little pieces. Shrapnel's my favorite, this stuff. Now I went through, kind of smoothed out the sand where I could, got all the edges cleaned up, looking natural now. Oh, it's looking sweet. Look at that detail. Clean, clean. Now let's hope it stays this way when I add water. That's what that's for, old trusty tray, rock. Start adding water in. Might take a while. I don't have a hose in here. If it wasn't for that thing, that sand would be everywhere. The trick will be getting the water level the same. Cleaner rock, dirty rock.
My rock?
Third rock. Dwayne rock. A little bit cloudy, we'll let it clear out for tomorrow. Need to add more sand too. Like up here where the sand's just not tall enough. Get in here tomorrow, add a little bit more. Probably cloud it up more, but it'll settle. Now what I want to do is wipe all this overspray off. So if I don't, just water spots everywhere. Nice and clean. Here we are the next day. Water's all cleared up. But you can see I don't have enough sand at the top there. It's all pretty wet. I did think about leaving it, but I'm afraid the fish will get caught up in there. because we could do a bog style planting. Leave just that little bit of water. Fish could get up there and breed out, but if they got in there and they couldn't get out, that could be bad. So then I kind of want a land look, because looking at it now doesn't really, I don't know. I think it would be better to have that dry land look to kind of separate it and give it that contrast. Oh, hey kitty. Hey baby. Now, as you can see on the top of the surface here, there's little bits left of just sand that's stuck in between the tension, some kind of film going on there. You could either get a fish that's real mouthy, rice fish are good for knocking it down, or after time it will eventually settle. But I'm about to make that all worse. I'm about to make it a lot worse trying to get this sand in here. See it just sticking at the top there. Floating and wiggling. Like I said, fish will knock it down or it'll just eventually fall down over time. Or if you have a filter will knock it down. And of course, if you guys know me, these are gonna be no filter, so no extra mechanics. And this is the difference it's making as far as looking complete. Now that looks a lot more complete. It's getting it dirty again, but we'll let it settle. Compared to the other side, you see the two with the land compared to the one without land. Just doesn't look that complete. I'm liking it. Much better. Little trick to get rid of all the little finger spots in here. You see that? You can smooth them out. Just slightly kind of put sand over. See how it just disappears there? Wow. Gone. Gives it that more natural look. Alright, got some rice fish in there. Help me with the stuff that's on top. They'll just nibble away at the surface and knock all that down. And we got some plants going in. Maybe a while till we get this planted and developed. I'm going to use it for some starters, Lady LRBs, setting all this up. And we want to get a couple trees for each end. So a little tree here, but we got to get something where the roots can be wet, and another tree over here. So stay tuned if you want to see how this develops. We got all kinds of things going on in here and plans to implement in there. So it begins. And here we are, a couple weeks later. It's got all the stuff knocked down with the fish, so eventually we'll move these. Hopefully they'll give us some babies. My umbrella tree plant, though, I don't know if it's just transitioning. Hopefully it just keeps going and it's transitioning from the lack of light. I really need newer lights. You can see it's kind of just rigged up with some C-clamps. These are LEDs. But if you guys have any recommendations for lights for these, I want something to hang over. And I don't know, hopefully they're bright enough for the umbrella tree, but I really want something there that's more of a tree on this side and that side. That way it's more symmetrical. Hoping the umbrella tree likes wet roots. If you guys have any other plant suggestions of that sort that like wet roots, that could be like a tree or a bonsai or something, feel free to comment, let me know. We'll brainstorm on this together. That seems to be growing well. Dalmatian mollies, red tail. Probably pull them out here soon. Kind of thinking hatchet fish. I'd like to see the hatchet fish in here. We actually had some random grass that popped up through the sand. Tends to happen. Got some begonias in there. And those little starters that she had earlier that you guys saw, you can see it's got new growth on them. And so she actually spread those around as well. Actually see down here, grass grows from like this bulb seed. See that circular bulb? I always find these trying to grow in my aquariums. They only last for a while. And they usually end up drowning out. I'm loving it. I like how the fish actually go up into these shallow areas too. They love to go up there. I'm kind of torn whether I should take the dead leaves out of the tank or if I should just kind of let it create its natural forest bed or floor. I know I definitely need a lot more to create something like that. But eventually, it'll become its own with just as the plants grow out and go through those cycles. That's what it'll all just become. And it takes time, you know. I mean, I could plant it all up with this and that. But in my experience, I actually enjoy watching it as it grows out from like this little bit. Because here in the future, I'll be like, oh, remember when it was just this and that? Then it becomes something like this, where it's all grown out and just blossoming everywhere. And so that'll be exciting to see the Paludarium get more like this. And these are actually what inspired it a bit too. Lady LRB's plant room. Also, this might end up being the new live stream spot. I don't know, we'll see. Which we do a live Q&A every Friday night, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, PM. Maybe I'll see you there. There it is, super excited to see what becomes of it in the future here. And hit the subscribe button, I'll see you guys on the next one.